You might think he's moved on, he's quiet, distant, and you tell yourself he probably doesn't care anymore. But what if I told you silence doesn't always mean indifference? Sometimes it's the loudest sign of someone secretly missing you. First, his behavior starts betraying him. He may not text you directly, but he's suddenly active around your presence, watching your stories the moment you post, liking something from months ago, or showing up where he knows you'll be. It's not coincidence, it's proximity disguised as chance. His mind is trying to reconnect without risking rejection. Second, his conversations, when they happen, carry emotional fingerprints. He brings up memories, moments, or inside jokes as if casually, but those words are his way of saying, "I still think about you." Third, he starts testing your emotional doors. A quick message, a soft comment, a random, "Hey." It's not just contact, it's curiosity mixed with longing. Before I reveal how to respond when this happens, take a moment. Have you ever noticed these signs before? If yes, drop a yes in the comments because most people miss them until it's too late. When a man misses you in silence, his logic and heart start to argue. He tells himself he's fine, but small moments, your laugh, your words, your energy, pull him back in. Missing someone doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, disguised as just checking in or just saw this and thought of you. But behind every subtle act lies a longing he's too proud to confess. If he truly misses you, he's not going to say it straight out. Let me tell you something most people in relationship advice get completely wrong. A man who really misses you won't send you long messages about his emotions or confess how often he thinks about you. That's not how a man's mind works when it comes to desire and missing someone. Instead, his brain functions on a totally different level, one that speaks through his actions, not his words. And if you don't know how to read those actions, you'll overlook the exact moments when you actually have the most emotional power and influence. Here's the honest truth that few people are brave enough to admit. Many women waste valuable time reading into text messages, waiting for clear confessions, or searching for obvious signs of affection, while completely missing the 3 solid behavioral clues that always, without fail, show when a man is secretly thinking about you all the time. These aren't small hints. They're clear emotional reactions triggered by genuine feelings. Once you understand these patterns, you'll never again sit in confusion wondering if he's thinking of you or already moving on. The issue isn't that men are confusing or emotionally distant. The real problem is that we've been taught to look for the wrong signals. We expect the movie-style romance moments when, in reality, real masculine longing shows itself through small actions, noticeable changes in behavior, and habits he can't control, even if he tries to. This video is going to completely decode those signs, because when you understand these 3 things, you shift from confusion and insecurity to clarity and confidence. You'll know exactly where you stand without needing to ask a single question. So don't skip this part, because what you're about to understand can totally change how you read male behavior from now on. Before we talk about the 3 main behaviors, it's important to first understand the big difference in how men and women process the feeling of missing someone. This isn't about labeling genders or making general assumptions. It's about brain science, human psychology, and behavioral patterns that appear the same across different cultures and situations. When a woman misses someone, she often wants to talk about it, share her emotions, and find comfort through connection. Her brain seeks emotional closeness and communication to deal with the feeling of missing someone. But a man's mind doesn't work that way. When a man misses you, his brain doesn't immediately look for words or emotional sharing. Instead, another part of his brain starts working hard, the part that plans and makes decisions. He begins thinking, how can I see her? What reason do I have to reach out? What can I do to reconnect without losing control? This isn't emotional avoidance or weakness. It's simply how masculine energy responds when it feels desire mixed with uncertainty. The brain chemistry behind this is very interesting. When a man truly longs for you, his dopamine system becomes active. Dopamine isn't only about pleasure, it's about drive and motivation. His brain starts looking for ways to bridge the gap between himself and you. And this process creates real, visible behavioral patterns that can't be faked. You can't force these reactions through tricks or games because they come from genuine emotional investment. Another important part is how testosterone affects emotional expression. Men with higher testosterone levels often express their emotions through action instead of words. Missing you doesn't make him want to write you a love letter. It makes him want to fix the problem, take action, or find a way to reconnect. When you understand this basic difference, the behaviors you'll notice start making total sense. They're not random at all. They are predictable results of a man's brain reacting deeply to your absence. There's also another layer, ego protection. Men are often raised to fear rejection and emotional exposure when it comes to love. So even when he's constantly thinking about you, admitting it out loud feels scary. What if you don't feel the same? What if you've moved on? What if he ends up looking needy? These fears create a space between what he truly feels and what he's ready to say. That's why his actions often become the main form of communication. It feels safer, less risky, and in many ways more honest than any words he could say. The brain's attachment system also influences how missing someone turns into behavior. Once emotional bonds are formed, the brain builds what scientists call emotional permanence. That means even when you're not around, a mental image of you stays active in his mind. This is why thoughts of you appear suddenly during his day. He might be working and remember something funny you said. He might hear a song and instantly think of you. These unplanned thoughts are proof that you've taken up a real place in his emotional world. Now, remember this, missing someone creates emotional tension. The human brain doesn't like unresolved feelings. So when a man misses you, his subconscious mind starts searching for a way to solve that discomfort, and usually through action. And that's when you can see the signs. When you know what to look for, his actions become an exact mirror of what's going on in his heart. No guessing, no overthinking, just clear evidence of how he truly feels. The first thing that usually happens when a man secretly misses you is that he begins to quietly circle back into your world without reaching out directly. This is one of the most common and powerful patterns in male behavior, and many women completely misread it. They think he's not interested or that he's giving mixed messages, when in reality, it's often the total opposite. His mind is trying to stay close to you while keeping some control over his feelings. This kind of behavior can show up in many ways, depending on his personality and your connection. He might start watching your stories or posts online without always liking or commenting. He might reconnect with mutual friends or casually ask about you. He might even start showing up in the same places or situations, making accidental encounters that actually aren't accidents at all. This pattern is called orbiting. It's a psychological reaction known as proximity seeking. When someone's brain feels emotionally attached, it naturally tries to reduce the physical or emotional distance. For many men, this shows up as indirect connection instead of direct approach. Why? Because it feels safer. Indirect contact allows him to feel connected to you without the risk of rejection. It's his brain's way of saying, I still care, but I need to protect myself. And here's where most women misunderstand what's really going on. They see silence as distance, when often it's a quiet kind of closeness. His silence isn't a lack of care, it's a sign of emotional protection. When a man truly misses you, he doesn't always announce it. He shows it in small, repeated actions. His presence starts reappearing in subtle ways. His name might pop up again where you least expect it. His timing, his interactions, his sudden curiosity, they all point to one thing: you still matter. When you stop chasing or over-analyzing, you give his mind the space to feel that distance. And that's when his energy shifts The moment you pull back, his brain begins to notice the empty space you used to fill. It's not punishment or manipulation, it's just human psychology. Absence creates awareness, and when that awareness grows strong enough, it pushes him into action. So if you ever wonder whether he still thinks about you, stop looking for the big romantic gestures. Watch his patterns instead. Pay attention to the moments he drifts back into your world, to the little signs of curiosity, to the subtle effort he makes to stay connected. Those are the clearest signs that his heart hasn't moved on, even if his words never say it. It's a way of staying visible in your world while quietly testing how things feel. Another part of this circling is information gathering. When a man misses you, he becomes truly curious about how your life is going. Are you happy? Are you seeing someone? Are you doing well or struggling? His mind wants facts to help decide what to do next. That curiosity makes him notice details he would ignore if you weren't on his mind. He remembers small things you said weeks ago. He spots tiny changes in your routine or how you look. This sharper notice is a direct sign of emotional interest. The digital era gives new places for orbiting to happen, and those places show a lot about his inner state. He might like an older photo, which tells you he was scrolling your profile on purpose. He might watch your stories right after you post, which suggests he checks your updates often or even has your notifications on. These little online crumbs form a map that shows how much mental space you fill for him. There's also a territorial side to this behavior that comes from our evolutionary wiring. By staying visible in your life, he is quietly signaling to other possible rivals that he still matters. It's his unconscious way of staying an option in your mind, while keeping others from filling the place he hopes to hold. This isn't necessarily toxic possessiveness. It's his brain trying to protect something it values. The key is consistency. Occasional random attention means very little. But when he shows up in your digital or physical spaces on a regular basis, when his presence becomes something you can expect, that's when missing you has become a steady state rather than a passing thought. His brain has built a habit of staying connected to your world, and habits form when something truly matters. Understand that this orbiting is usually not deliberate manipulation. It's often unconscious. His reasoning mind might say to move on or to keep distance, but his emotional brain keeps tugging him back. He can say he wants to let go and still find himself clicking on your profile or asking mutual friends about you. That inner tug is longing overriding logic. When you notice this pattern, recognize you're seeing genuine emotional conflict. Part of him wants to protect himself, and part of him can't stop being drawn to you. Another reason men orbit is to keep the door open. Even if the moment isn't right for direct contact, he doesn't want you to forget him or leave the possibility behind completely. By staying present in your awareness, he keeps himself as a potential option. This is not about using you as a backup or disrespecting you. It's about hope. If he thinks there might be a future, he will instinctively try to keep that chance alive through small, steady presence. Orbiting also shows real effort. Viewing stories, turning up in certain places, keeping tabs with mutual friends, these things take time and attention. Men don't spend that energy on people who don't matter to them. If he constantly appears in your peripheral view, it's because his brain decided you're worth the investment. The emotional gain he gets from staying connected outweighs the amount of effort it costs him. Often the need to orbit connects directly to how deep his feelings are. Casual interest brings casual on and off attention. Deep emotional investment produces steady patterned presence. If you chart his orbiting over time, you'll see one of three things. It increases, it stays steady, or it fades. Increasing presence suggests his feelings are growing and he is gathering bravery. Steady orbiting means the interest is maintained, managed against fear or life circumstances. A falling off presence is usually the sign he is actually letting go. What's important is the trend, not a single action. Remember that orbiting often comes before direct moves. Consider it reconnaissance. He's quietly checking the terrain, building courage, and looking for a moment when conditions feel safe enough to act, when the orbiting becomes more frequent or more obvious, it often means he's getting ready for something real. The longing has reached a point where action is becoming more likely. The second pattern to watch for is how his communication changes. It's not just about how often he messages you, it's about the timing, the tone, and the subjects he chooses. Many women fixate on frequency and miss the deeper clues hidden in the way and the times he reaches out. When a man misses you, his messages often arrive in certain emotional windows. Late at night and early in the morning are key because these are times when defenses are down. The part of him that wants to stay cool and distant is quieter, and the emotional side speaks up. If his texts regularly come in those vulnerable hours, it's because his longing peaks when he's alone with his thoughts. You'll also see messages that pull up shared memories or inside jokes. When someone is thinking of you, their brain naturally calls up past moments tied to you. Bringing up those memories is an unconscious way of trying to recreate the emotional connection you had. He's reminding both you and himself of what made your bond feel special. Those nostalgic messages are direct clues to his inner state. His questions will feel different too. Instead of sticking to small talk, he will ask about your feelings, your plans, what's been on your mind. That kind of curiosity shows deeper interest. People only dig into someone's inner life when they care enough to want to understand them. Shallow chat won't satisfy a brain that is longing for connection. You'll notice a pattern of random updates as well. He'll tell you small things about his day, send a link, share a song, or pass along a meme that reminded him of you, often for no practical reason. These needless little messages come from a wish to keep the line between you open. Each one is a tiny bridge across the gap of your absence. His brain uses these interruptions to reduce the discomfort of missing you. Watch how quickly he replies too. Response time patterns can be revealing. If he usually takes a long time but suddenly answers faster when the topic is about you or something meaningful, that change is meaningful. If he avoids deep replies during the day but opens up late at night, that also tells you where his emotional windows are. The pattern of how and when he responds says more than any single quick text. When you put all of these signs together, the orbiting, the steady digital breadcrumbs, the timing of messages, the nostalgia, the deeper questions, and the small, almost unnecessary updates, you get a clear map of his internal state. These behaviors aren't random noise. They're consistent outputs of a mind trying to stay connected without exposing itself to risk. Read them as the honest language of a person who's missing you, even if he isn't ready or able to say it in plain words. When a man can't stop thinking about you, his reply times usually change in two opposite ways, either very fast or noticeably slow and careful. Quick replies happen because his mind is already focused on you, so answering feels natural and easy. The slower, more deliberate replies come from him trying to manage his feelings, taking time to choose his words because what he says matters deeply. Both styles show emotional investment. Real indifference shows up as random, inconsistent response behavior with no rhythm or care behind it. The kind of words he uses also tells you a lot. You might notice more personal pronouns like we and us, even when he's talking about something general or in the future. That's his mind unconsciously placing you inside his story, blending your identity into his sense of self. When someone's language naturally connects your lives, it's a sign of deep emotional and psychological integration. Another clear signal is what could be called vulnerability creep. As time passes, if he truly misses you, his messages slowly become more personal and honest. He might start sharing things he usually keeps private, his worries, dreams, fears, or doubts. This openness happens because missing someone builds inner pressure, and his emotions push him to release that tension through genuine connection. When you become the person he feels safe being real with, it means you hold a special and important place in his emotional world. The way he closes conversations also tells a story. When someone wants to stay connected, they avoid ending things sharply. You'll see phrases like "talk soon" or "let me know how that goes," or small open-ended questions that keep the dialogue alive. Those aren't random, they're his way of creating a small bridge toward the next interaction. His brain doesn't like the idea of finality when he's emotionally invested. The need for continued contact overpowers the normal social habits of wrapping up a conversation neatly. Another thing to notice is how aware he is of what's happening in your life. When a man misses you, he doesn't just talk, he listens and remembers. He adjusts his communication to match your current situation. If you mention something important coming up, he'll remember to ask about it. If you told him about a problem, he'll follow up later to see how you're doing. That kind of attention requires mental effort and shows that you take up real space in his thoughts. He's tracking your world because it matters to him. You'll feel the emotional tone of his messages change too. When missing deepens, the way he writes often feels warmer, funnier, or more heartfelt. There's a softness or intensity that stands out compared to normal, friendly talk. You'll sense more effort and care in his words, a different kind of presence. That shift happens because his emotions leak into his communication, leaving a distinct emotional fingerprint in each exchange. What's powerful about reading these communication patterns is that they show consistency over time. One message doesn't prove much, but when you look at how he's been texting or calling over several weeks, the truth becomes clear. The timing, the topics, the tone, all form a pattern that's almost impossible to fake. That emotional rhythm reflects his true internal state. When those signs show up, the quick replies, the vulnerability, the warmth, the personal curiosity, you're not guessing anymore. You're reading actual emotional evidence of missing. It's also important to know that most of these changes happen without conscious planning. He isn't sitting down trying to sound open or choosing the perfect moment to text late at night. His brain is just reacting to emotional impulses. The longing naturally pushes him to connect, and that turns into real behaviors you can see. When you understand these signs, you're looking beneath the surface into what's really going on inside him. And the third clear thing that happens when a man misses you is that he starts showing his value through action, not just words. This part is crucial because it requires actual effort and commitment. When he truly misses you, his natural drive pushes him to prove that he deserves a place in your life. He wants to be useful, not just emotionally present. This shows up in practical ways. Maybe he offers help with something you mentioned, gives advice, helps fix a problem, or connects you to someone who could assist you. He looks for small opportunities to make your life a little better. It's not about big gifts or showing off. It's about his genuine need to be supportive and meaningful in your world. The reason behind this goes back to how masculine energy works. Men often link their self-worth to being capable, dependable, and valuable. When someone means a lot to them, that instinct grows stronger. Helping you, solving problems, or easing your stress gives him a sense of purpose. His mind starts finding reasons for you to keep him around, creating what could be seen as emotional insurance. Because when someone adds consistent value to your life, it becomes harder to disconnect from them completely. Another revealing piece is his attention to detail. When he remembers what you said, anticipates what you might need, or offers thoughtful support, it shows you occupy real space in his thoughts. His mind isn't casually wandering, and it's actively collecting and processing information about you. That level of awareness doesn't happen by accident. It's driven by care and emotional investment. People who are indifferent don't study your words or remember small details just to make things easier for you. You'll also see a proactive side. When he misses you, he won't always wait for you to ask for help or reach out first. He notices chances to be useful and acts on them. That kind of initiative reveals inner motivation. He's not doing it out of obligation. He's doing it because staying passive feels uncomfortable. Taking action helps him feel connected and reduces the ache of distance. Each step he takes is both a way to serve you and a way to soothe himself. Consistency separates true missing from polite gestures. A one-time favor might mean little, but steady, repeated acts of care, even small ones, tell a bigger story. That kind of effort shows he's emotionally invested enough to keep giving without being asked. It means his mind has put your well-being into a higher priority spot. Personal sacrifice is another strong sign. When a man rearranges his plans, changes his schedule, or goes out of his way to make time or help you, that shows how much you matter. Time and energy are precious resources, and people protect them carefully. So when someone willingly gives up comfort or convenience for your sake, it's a real statement. It means he values your presence and connection more than his own ease. That's one of the purest ways to see genuine emotional importance. Not in what he says, but in what he's willing to give up just to show that you still matter.